Hello my lovelies and welcome back to my channel. Today is day 5 of our Rosie Sew Along, also known as the last day, the final assembly day. So for today we're going to be using all the remainder pieces that we have, but we'll start with the gusset and zipper panel that we worked on yesterday and our front panel, the beautiful pocket front. Make sure that you still have your markings, and I'm double checking right now that I still have my markings visible for the 4 points here. I'm also going to add some markings on the panels. I'm basically matching my gusset, and I'm going to be snipping on both sides in 4 places, which means I'm going to basically quarter my gusset panel and zipper. Now bringing in these two together here, I'm finding the quarter mark, which is actually oh, never mind, it's actually where the gusset meets the zipper panel, so we don't have to mark that one. Okay, so with the right sides together, meaning like so, you want to make sure that you place your front panel correctly with the front zipper pocket. So if you look from the side here, if you look a little bit from the side, you'll see that this is a little higher than this. So where the lower part is, that's your front. That's where your front panel will go. So don't add the front panel here, add the front panel here, where it's a little lower. Okay, and you want to add it right sides together, matching those center markings with the ones you have from your panel, your front panel. It will sit pretty nice and flushed. All the roses that I've made before were sitting super nicely here, like there wasn't bunching or anything like that. So I'm going to pin in place these 4 points. And then I'm going to pin all around and baste in place. Now, I'm using jelly vinyl for this, so it is a little thick, and there's a few of them, a few layers, because I've used it for the pocket as well. So you want to make sure that your machine can handle it. If not, maybe do a woven for your pocket and then vinyl for the rest, or all woven. Mixing and matching bases will definitely help you lower that like bulk and thickness in the seams. You want to pin this in place. We're going to baste it, and then we're going to add the binding. And I know that's a scary word, but it is not difficult to add the binding to this pattern, especially if you're using water resistant canvas binding, that you don't even have to worry about it like fraying and double folding it. I absolutely love that. And again, some vinyls are more pliable than others. I'm using jelly, which is not super soft. It's pretty stiff. So I need to work it in a little bit and use some muscles, but can be done. I wouldn't recommend, honestly, using all printed jelly on a domestic machine like I did here. Like a semi-industrial maybe, but on a domestic, maybe do at least a pocket in a vinyl, in a woven, so it reduces some of the bulk. Just want to make sure there is no puckering here. Now it's laying nice and flat around all edges. That's what we want. We want it to be nice and flat. We don't want to have any puckers around any of the edges. And I'm going to be stitching this down with about 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. It's just a basting stitch for now. Go slow at the curve. Make sure you keep that curve. And I do have a flatbed machine, which I'm sure most of us do. I am not lucky enough to have a cylinder arm, so I'm laying the panel down. It seems to be working for me, but if you feel that it's easier to work with your back panel or front panel down instead of the gusset panel down, that's fine too. Whatever works for you, as long as you keep that straight seam and the seam allowance constant. As best as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to get better and better and better with every rosie you make. And I am not a patient sewist. I'm really not. Like, I'd rather go fast. So I get the temptation. Okay, so this is basted in place. I'm going to double check that everything looks good from the outside. And it seems to be doing well. So I'm taking my strip of water-resistant canvas. If you're using woven, you're going to have to press one side down. If you want to do this with water-resistant canvas, you can as well. But again, I encourage you to only do that if you're using an industrial machine, because it will create even more bulk. So not with a domestic. Like, don't double fold this with a domestic. I'm going to snip a corner like so, as straight as I can get it, free-handedly. And I like to start on the edge. I like to start, first of all, adding the binding on a straight edge. I don't like to start here on a curve. You want to start on a straight edge. And I'm going to just use my hands for this. I'm not going to pin it in place. I'm going to be pulling as I sew. I'm going to pull this taut as I go around. But before we do that, let's not forget a very important step. We want to snip this a little bit, but these scissors are not snipping all those layers. So let's take some real scissors. And you want to snip those corners so they lay nice and flat. All those round corners. You see, it's bunching here a little bit, and we don't want that. We want to snip that. Yeah, from this side. There's a lot of layers here, a lot of layers. And you do want to snip through that basting stitch, so don't worry about that. This is just a basting stitch. Let's do the same thing. So I'm gonna try to show you as best as I can. About 1/4 of an inch to release some of that tension from the curve. Alright, we did all 4 corners with it. Okay. Now I'm going to start from the straight edge here, and I'm going to match the seam allowance, the raw edge of my binding and the basting part that we just did. And with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, and I'm going to try my best to keep it constant, I'm going to sew this in place. So go back to a stitching length, in my case about 2.53, and I am going to backstitch at the beginning. And I'm following that curve, again with everything laying nice and flat, and I am pulling the binding slightly on that curve. Go slow at the curve especially. When it's a straight edge, you can make it a little speedier. Make sure you move your panel away if you're sewing on a flat bed. Breathe a sigh of relief when you get to the straight part, because the curve is coming back soon. Okay, so we are back at a curve, going slow, pulling that water-resistant canvas binding. Pull that slow at the curve to not create any puckers. Okay, and let's go a few inches, overlapping a few inches. And then I'm going to remove the excess binding, because it's a little more than you need, the piece. Okay, so this is what it should look like right now. So very nice. And now I'm going to bring it in and pull like so. Okay, so this is what it would look like right now. This is the lining, this is the outside. And now if you're using woven interfacing, you will do a double fold here and fold, so you'll have a fold here that you've pre-pressed, and then you'll just fold it over like so. You can do that with this as well, or you can simply do one layer like this, and we'll be removing the excess by snipping it off. So whatever works for you. It looks prettier obviously if you double fold it, so I might try it just for this sew along, because I have not done it before like that. I've only done it with the easy way, where you just pull it like this, and it looked very pretty. So I don't know, maybe I'll try it for the sew along to see how it looks. But again, it's going to be very thick, because waterproof canvas is pretty thick, and you're like adding a lot of layers here. So I might regret trying it, but you know what? If I don't try it now, when will I? So I'm just folding about 1/2 inch, so there's no raw edge. pretty much doing the woven method, but with this binding, with the water resistant binding. And I'm putting a few clips in place to hold it tight. It does look very pretty though, I have to admit. It looks prettier if you do the double fold. But it's probably not as easy to sew. Oh, it looks so pretty. I am such a fan of binding. I know binding for a lot of people, it's a scary word. And I actually prefer it. I prefer binding to definitely any drop-in linings, especially if a drop-in lining is at the zipper. I prefer binding because it gives that extra sturdiness in the seam and makes it look nicer when you turn it inside out, like it's more rounded. And I definitely prefer binding to birthing method when I'm using like stiff vinyl like this. It would give me such pain in my thumb and my fingers if I were to birth this jelly right now with all the layers that I have. It's, I love me a binding. Especially when you do it so easily with water resistant canvas. I didn't have to even cut it on the bias. It's super, super easy and nice. And one more thing, if you match your thread to your binding, it will not reveal any kind of wobbly stitching. Now, I didn't have this exact purple. I have a lighter purple, I think. Yeah, it wouldn't match. So I might as well just stick to the black that I already had there. So this is what it looks like from the side. This is from here, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch it down. How many clips do we lose on a project? This should be a poll. How many clips do you lose in any given project? I would say I break about 5 clips and I lose about 5 with every project. So yeah. Clips are one of my most purchased thing. So you won't be able to see much because I like to sew like this with the panel down, with the gusset panel down. I find that it's easier. But if you're more comfortable sewing like this, you can do that as well with the bottom down. So it's whatever works for you. I do want to sew from this side because I want to see and make sure that I catch this binding, because this one is already stitched. If I don't catch it, that's not a big deal, but this one is not stitched down, so I want to make sure that I see it and I catch all of it. Okay, go slow with the curve, removing here. Oh, another one. We're at 4 so far on this project. I'm sure there'll be more on the other side. More clip victims. Yep, I'm digging the whole double fold. I am digging it. I wouldn't recommend it on a non-industrial machine, but man, it looks pretty here. I haven't done it before. I've always done the single fold with the canvas binding, but this is pretty. I get it now. Okay, last curve. Oh, and I got shipping notification today that my rectangle rings are coming today, as well as my handmade tags. So a few days late, but we'll use them for a different project. And look at this beauty. Look at this beauty. And this is how you do binding. Easy, gorgeous, beautiful. Everybody can do it. Trust me, I can show you the binding on my other projects. My binding is not straight on the inside, but this one, oh, I would wear the bag inside out just to show people how gorgeous is my beautiful binding. We are quite a cuckoo bunch here. All right, so let's go ahead and repeat the exact same steps on this panel, on the back panel. So we're going to place it like this. Open your zipper a little bit so you don't forget. So matching the center markings. We're going to be repeating the exact same steps. So I might actually be speeding this part in the video so it's not too long, because it is literally the exact same steps we just did right now. Pin, stitch with a basting stitch, and then add your binding with a regular stitch. Same thing. So I will see you on the flip side. Oh, and make sure that you move your D-rings on the back. You have those D-rings on the anchor. You don't want to stitch through them. They're going to win the battle with the needle. I can guarantee you that, if the needle hits them. So push them inside. All we have left to do is turn it inside, right side out. Gently, slowly, take your time. It is definitely a lot easier than birthing, but depending on the materials you've used, this could be require a little bit of a hard work. Like jelly is pretty stiff. Same with PVC. TPU is a little bit softer to turn, and because I have like 3 layers, oh, it's time for the rings to come out. Because I have like 3 layers and water resistant canvas for the lining, it is pretty stiff. What I could do right now is use a hair dryer and warm it up a little bit. If you warm the vinyl a little bit, it makes it more pliable. I just don't want the hair dryer in the recording. I find that sound to be extremely annoying and loud. So if you do have a hair dryer handy, just run it a little bit on it or inside, and it will soften the vinyl and it will make it very easy to turn. Or you can just use your hands and push. Make sure you push all that binding so it lays nice and flat. Here, see? Push all the binding. And the binding will help it. So I like to push the binding so it's flushed with the gusset inside. See? I don't know how if you can see it. See, that binding, I want to make it flush with the gusset, not with the panels. And if it stays flush with the gusset, it's going to give you that beautiful curve. that's what I'm trying to do right now. Push that binding so it's flushed with the gusset. Oops, I can't be using my rings. Ah, gorgeous. It is absolutely beautiful. Again, if you find that you need a little more helping hand with the pliability of your vinyl, just run the hair dryer, make it warm, and then it's going to take the shape you want. Okay, so push your binding towards the gusset and you're done. The beautiful pocket is done. Gorgeous. All we have left to do right now is add that strap. And you have the right to take a few minutes to admire your hard work. Okay, now that we've admired it, let's finish sewing the strap. So you will need your strap. I absolutely love this cotton woven. It is so comfortable to wear, and I love the 1.5 inch. So highly recommend trying cotton webbing and 1.5 inch. What we want to do right now is on one end of this strap, add our end that we've cut. So what you want to do is either add some glue, or I don't have any glue, so I'm going to use a little bit of double-sided tape. Preferably 1/2 inch, but I don't have any. So I'm going to use 1/4 inch and just place it somewhat in the center of both panels, just to hold it in place while we stitch. So like this. Okay, add your swivel clasp here and peel at least one side. Bring your woven cotton woven strap and stick it down. And I just realized I actually didn't need 1.5 inch. You could use 1 inch. So I'm going to save this for a different project, and I brought a 1 inch swivel clasp, and this one fits better here. If you don't add this panel, you do need 1.5 inch, because this is 1.5 inch, so you will need a wider one. But if you add this panel that's included, this ending that's included in the pattern, then you can use 1 inch. And I'm going to remove the sticky tape from the other side and fold it in place like so. So now it's holding. So I'm going to go ahead now and stitch all around this, and this will hold everything in place. The slower you go here, the prettier it will look. This is me talking to myself pretty much, because I know myself and I have no patience to go slow when it comes to sewing. Just want to make sure that the strap is right in there and it's not coming out. Ah, this is pretty. Huh. Sewing slowly does work. Alright, so now we have enclosed this, which is great because woven tends to fray and to unravel, and we don't want that. If you're not adding this part and you're just folding, make sure you do a double fold. Again, because woven tends to unravel. Cotton woven webbing. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Very nice. So you're going to take the other end now, and we're going to work with this D-ring here, or rectangle ring. But first, you want to take your slider, pull the webbing through one side, then down on the other side. Okay, up one side, down the other. Then this end, you want to push it through the D-ring. So now it's connected to the backpack. And you want to go back and go up one side, down another side, down the other side. So I'm gonna show you this from the side to see what it looks like. So what I did was up from this side, down through the rectangle ring, then go up again and down, and this is the middle bar. So here is where we need to stitch, and I will do a double fold here. Let me just remove this loose thread. So I'm going to fold once inside, and then I'm going to stitch, because I don't want to have any unraveling and I don't want to have any raw edge here. So fold it once about 1/2 inch and then stitch it down. And I should probably change my thread and make it nicer, and maybe white or a pastel, but I'm not going to. And you knew that, right? We're not gonna worry about this one little stitch here. And I do like to go a few times and make like a like a rectangle, just to avoid any kind of risk of it unraveling, because I'm using a cotton strap. If you're using a poly strap, then you can just do one line and seal in the ends. Beautiful. Not perfect by any means, and obviously not perfect when you stitch it with black on white, but it is what it is. We're not going to worry about that. And this concludes the backpack. You are officially done. So you have a slider that's adjustable. And another reason why I love this webbing, it stays still, it stays where you put it, it doesn't slide off. And now, depending on your preference, you can hook this to this side, or you can hook it to this side. And what I like to do on the side where I don't have my strap, I like to hook my Mickey ears for the parks. I have a little thing that I hook them on, and they stay on the other side. So we use all the D-rings at all times. Ah, this is absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. I love it. Let me see if I can stand so you can see it on a little bit. Might need to zoom you out a smidge. No, out. Okay. Here. Oh, it works. I like it on the other side more. So, like so. It is so beautiful. I can't wait to take it to the park. I can't wait. I'm going probably in 5 days. I need to go get my magnet, my pass holder magnet. So this is coming with me. It is so gorgeous. So gorgeous. Thank you so much for joining me. I really, really enjoyed this first sew along of 2024. If you've joined us and you want the chance to win one of the prizes that are up for grabs during the sew along, make sure that you post a photo of your finished completed Rosie in the comments of day 5 photo of the sew along album. You can find the sew along album in the Backstitch Backroom on Facebook, and that's where I'll be assigning entries. If you've used materials from Backstitch prints, then you'll get 2 entries per bag. If you've used any other materials, you will get 1 entry per bag. So make sure if you've made more than one Rosie, you comment with separate comments for every single one to make sure I give you enough entries and increase your chance of winning the prize. So again, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you to Backstitch Prints for hosting this sew along. Thank you to Knotted Threads for providing the discount that's expiring on February 9 for the bag and one of the prizes. And thank you first and foremost for joining me and welcoming back with the open arms. I'll talk to you in my next one. Bye.